Don't underestimate the importance of the chemistry call. I've had a coach in supervision recently who worked in a context where she was not given the opportunity to have a chemistry call because people could just book themselves in for, I think, 3 or 6 sessions. And they ended up feeling quite unsafe with a client who came in clearly in need of therapy. Maybe not as clearly as it first seemed, but by session 2, there was so much in the room. And by that time that it was very clear, it also was risky to just stop the relationship, right? If they had just said, oh, this is no longer coaching, sometimes regardless of how sensitively and carefully you draw a boundary that this is no longer the work that I can do with you, there can be a feeling of abandonment, or, it can really trigger a lot of trauma response. And it's not always obvious when somebody comes in immediately. In this case, it was obvious relatively quickly. So a chemistry call would have probably really helped. You cannot always predict it, but it's important that both coach and client make a decision to work with each other. It's a partnership. It's not just a service provision, right? So it's so important to have that initial connection, to feel into the space a little bit more, to get to know that person a little bit. And my experience has also been, during the chemistry call, you still have some time to just tell me your story. Right? Many coaches that dive straight in, what's the result you're looking for? What's the pain you're looking to disappear? Like, very focused. And we often miss meeting the actual person and meeting a bit of the depth of that person. And I think a chemistry call, mine used to be 2 hours. And just by sheer necessity of, having a family with a small child and lots of demands, I reduced the time. But I loved the time when I had 2 hours to just be with each other and see if this is something that we both want to do. When you get straight into the actual coaching work, first session, paid for, we're moving, right? You don't have that kind of choice point. And it can really leave the coach in a pretty tricky spot, right? Because the coach in that scenario didn't have a choice to work with this person or not. The client made the choice to work with them. And yes, you can say you could have always stopped it at that point. But at that point, the doors might already be very open, and to just stop it can be tricky and potentially really risky, depending on who's showing up, right? So if you're working in a situation where you don't have chemistry calls, or your chemistry calls are very, very short, I'm not saying that it's necessarily wrong, depending on how your marketing works, right? Depending on how you invite people. But think about the process of who's getting attracted to this, and if there's a choice point for both parties to partner. Because if one person doesn't have a choice in the matter, or only gets the choice later, it's not a true partnership. So don't underestimate the importance of chemistry calls.